What's going on? Eric here. Hope you're all doing good today. This is video number 2 in my Espresso for Beginners series. So if you are a beginner in espresso and you want to learn how to get your espresso running right, getting it tasting good, then this is a great video to start off with, a jumping off point into your world of espresso. I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you have an espresso machine, or you like espresso that you've had in cafes and places like that, and you want to try to replicate that at home, and that's what we're here to do. Before we get started, maybe give me a little like, maybe give me a little subscribe, and if you like this video at the end, it helped you out, maybe leave a little comment. That will help me out big time. Thank you so much. Let's get going. Before we get too into the weeds, I'm going to give you a couple little disclaimers. This will be quick, all right? So just hang on. Disclaimer number 1 is this is a jumping off point. This is a very basic tutorial. This is going to get your foot in the door and teach you basically how most people in cafes originally learn how to make coffee. And from there, you can try different recipes, you can try different techniques, you can learn more about coffee, and you can get away from this very basic, formulaic kind of approach. But I promise you, if you learn to do it this way first, you will be able to expand your mind, expand your palate, expand your skills, and this will really give you a reference point where you can really get going. Disclaimer number 2, taste is subjective. No one can tell you what you think tastes good or what you think tastes bad is wrong. I mean, everybody's an individual, everyone tastes things different. You are a unique little snowflake floating around there, and your tongue works different than other people. So wherever you're at with your espresso journey, whatever you think tastes good, then you're right. If it tastes good to you, then you are doing it right, and you don't have to worry about what anyone else says. So if any point in this tutorial you taste the shot that you just made and you're like, hey, this tastes good, then good, you've done a good job. Third disclaimer is that if you are a very scientifically minded person, and if you are a person who really wants to get deep into the weeds of espresso, this is a very basic kind of tutorial. There are other channels that will give you a much deeper dive into the world of espresso, really get into the nitty gritty, and I'm gonna throw up a little link here. Lance Hedrick, he is one of the people who is one of the smartest people in the room at all times, and they will really get you deep into the weeds of, espresso theories, tasting theories, just stuff that will make most of our minds explode. But let's get to the basics first. In this tutorial, we're going to be going over making espresso with basically the stock equipment that most inexpensive budget espresso machines should come with. A regular tamper, nothing too fancy, not a regular basket that isn't upgraded or anything like that. The portafilter here without it having a bottom. But the only things that I want you to check out here is make sure this right here, your portafilter basket, has a lot of little holes on the bottom, because if it only has one small hole here, then it's not the kind of basket that we need to dial an espresso properly. This is called a standard basket. The one with only one little hole in the bottom is called a pressurized basket, and it does make espresso like coffee, but for our purposes, this is the one that we need to make espresso to the cafe standards. More challenging, but to me it's worth it. Speaking of this, we're going to talk about the tools that we're going to need to make espresso. Of course, you're going to need a little tamper. Doesn't need to be fancy. We are going to need our portafilter, our espresso machine, and we're going to need that basket with lots of holes in the bottom. A double basket, please. So one that can fit about 17 to 19 grams of espresso in here. We're going to need a clean, dry cloth for wiping out your portafilter between every shot to make sure that everything is clean and dry in here, because that will definitely affect your espresso. You're going to need a wet-ish kind of cleaning cloth just for wiping things down, keeping things neat, because espresso is messy. We're going to need a grinder. Now, this is the add-on that a lot of people don't have yet, and unfortunately you do need an espresso-capable grinder to make espresso at home. You can't have a blade grinder, which is the ones with the little blades on there that looks like a helicopter propeller whirling around and around and around and around. You're going to need a burr grinder. That is the kind that have little burrs inside that basically crush up the beans, hopefully in a very uniform way, and that one needs to be espresso capable. Now, there are two main types of grinders in the entry-level espresso world. So this is what we call all-purpose grinder, meaning that it's designed to do everything from espresso all the way to French press, so extremely fine to extremely coarse. This is more of a specialized grinder that really it has a lot of settings, but it's mostly designed just for working with espresso. You can tell because there's the bellows on top for pumping it. Whatever kind you have, that's fine, but just make sure that it can go fine enough for espresso. There's a lot of grinders out there that can't, and if you need some recommendations for grinders, I've got a couple linked down below. I'll also link up a video up here of maybe about this grinder here. So a tool that you really do need to do this consistently and to replicate your results over and over again to make it easier for you in the beginning especially is an espresso scale. Well, you don't necessarily need to have it be an espresso scale, but this just makes the job easier because it's small, it's compact, usually a little bit waterproof, usually a little bit heat resistant, and usually more accurate than your average kitchen scale. And the main thing about an espresso scale is it doesn't have to be designed for espresso. What we really want is it to be able to fit on the tray here. If you don't want an espresso scale, you don't need an espresso scale, you already have a scale for using in the kitchen for baking or whatever you're doing for recipes, then a kitchen scale like this is fine. It won't fit on here. It's just going to be a little bit different of a process. And if you have this kind of scale, please jump over to the this video here, one of these, and that will tell you how to dial in with this kind of bigger scale that can't fit on your espresso machine. Cool. Okay, we got that preamble out of the way. Let's get into it. Today's word of the day is dialing in. Dialing in means to find the right setting for your espresso. Essentially, finding the right place on your espresso machine and on your grinder that will make your espresso sing, that will make it taste its best. And every coffee will have a different little notch, different little place that'll make it taste better. The reason why you can't just have a grinder and put it on setting number 2 and leave it there all the time is because coffee is extremely dynamic. It comes in different roast styles, it comes in different processing styles, it comes from different places, it comes from different farms within those places. It also comes in different stages. It's very much like produce, like an avocado or something like that. Same bag of coffee actually will act different throughout the couple weeks that you have it in your house, because when you first get it, if it's fresh off the roast, if it's the best kind of coffee you can get, which is locally roasted and roasted by somebody who knows what they're doing, then it's gonna be really full of gas in the beginning because gas slowly dissipates. And then as it gets older, it's gonna be less gas in it. So it's gonna behave differently. That's why learning to dial in is important, because even the most standard bag of beans from your grocery store will be different every time you buy it because coffee is dynamic. You know, a little bit like me. All right, we want to find the sweet spot for this espresso, right? And the main rule for that is finer and coarser on your grinder will affect the way your espresso flows through, right? So the water is going to go through that ground up coffee and it's going to come out here and it's going to be espresso, and basically the size of your grind will affect that. So the thing, we're going to use 2 basic terms for that, finer and coarser. So the finer you go, the slower that espresso is going to flow out of the portafilter. The coarser you go, the faster it's going to flow out of the portafilter. Now, the basic idea is finer will give you more intensity to a point, and coarser will give you less intensity. Now, there are benefits to both. Coarser might give you more floral notes and more sweet notes, and finer notes will start to get more and more stringent and bitter the finer you go. But finding that spot in the middle, just the right spot that tastes good to you, that's the important thing. To achieve that optimal espresso, we're gonna start, for all of us beginners, we're gonna start with a very basic recipe or a ratio. And that recipe is gonna be 1:2, meaning for every 1 part of coffee that you put in here, we're gonna weigh out 2 parts that amount in liquid espresso. And that espresso recipe that we're gonna be doing today is the most basic one, 18 grams of coffee in here, 36 grams of coffee into your cup, 1:2, right? Double. Cool. Now, you can play with that, you can find variants, but that is a great way to start. And the amount of time that we want to hit that 1:2 ratio is going to be between 25 and 30 seconds from that first drop out of here. You good? We got it? 1:2 ratio in 25 to 30 seconds. That is the recipe. That is the beginning point. And that, once you can understand that, once you get that dialed in, once you've learned it all, you're gonna be sitting good, because then you're gonna be able to play and you're gonna find out what tastes good to you. Before we do anything too crazy, before we start grinding coffee and everything like that, turn on your espresso machine, run a little bit of hot water with the portafilter in here, through it, maybe even run it into your cup so your cup gets warmed up, because we want everything good and hot before we get started. We want to warm up everything. After that, we're going to dry everything out, make everything nice and dry, because we don't want a wet portafilter. That'll kind of mess everything up. So you're going to want to grab your scale now. You're going to want to have an espresso grinder or a coffee grinder that can do espresso, and you're going to want to have nothing in the hopper. All right, if you have something in the hopper, that's fine. Use that up. Come back to this tutorial after you've used that up, and then we're going to start again. So you want to get your scale and you want to weigh out about 18 grams. You want to get as close to 18 grams as you can. So you got your 18 grams weighed out, ready to go. You're going to make that setting on your coffee grinder in the middle of the espresso range. So open up that manual, do a little Google search, find out where the espresso settings are on your grinder. Maybe it'll tell you right on the grinder, maybe it'll say espresso 1 through 5. Put it right in the middle, because that's where we're going to start, because we need to get an idea of where this grinder sits, because every single grinder acts differently. Put it in the middle, and then you're going to grind it through, and then you're going to check that weight on your scale, and you're going to see that you still have 18 grams. If you got to do a little thing like knock that grinder around to get that extra out of there that's stuck up in there, because that happens a lot, that's fine. If you got to add a couple little extra beans in there to get it down to 18 grams, that's fine too. But the main thing is you want to have 18 grams of freshly ground espresso. We're good? All right. Next, we're going to take that freshly ground espresso, and if you are grinding into something like this, a cup of some kind, we're going to carefully and very gingerly put it into our portafilter. Now, if you're grinding directly into your portafilter, that's fine. Just make sure you do that weight thing as well. Weigh out your portafilter, put the espresso in there, then check the weight of the portafilter. Great, 18 grams. Are we good? Awesome. So we've got our 18 grams in here. Now, we've got a little mound on top of our espresso. We're just going to gently bump a bump. Just leave it a couple little knocks, bump a bump, until it kind of smooths out as best you can. Gentle taps, bump a bump, bump a bump, to make it as smooth and uniform as you can. Now we're going to tamp. Now, there are other kinds of tampers that will work easier, meaning that it's going to sit on there flat every time. You don't have to worry about your tamper being crooked, but we're just going to worry about using a standard, inexpensive, very, very regular tamper today. And the whole name of the game is, when tamping, is to try to get things compacted, and you want to do that on the counter. Now, if you need to put down a cloth or something so you don't scar your counter, that's good. If you got a fancy tamping station like I do, that's good too. But we're putting it down. Don't do this in the air, okay? Put it down and tamp. Now, tamping means pressing down, and you're going to put about 25 pounds to 30 pounds of pressure. What does that mean? Probably not much to you, but it means just compacting things down to where they really stop. Now, a good way to do that is to just make your wrist as straight as possible, make your elbow as straight as possible, and don't push down with your arm, push down with your shoulder, because you don't want to hurt anything. You want to just kind of lean down onto it. You don't have to be pushing down hard, you're just leaning down onto it. It's only going to go down as far as it can go down, so no matter how hard you push, you're not going to overdo it. But, you know, there's no real reason to push it down like crazy. Just push it down and play with your technique. You'll notice if it's not flat as possible, it's going to flow out more one side than the other. That does affect your espresso. You want to get everything even. Even is the name of the game. So you've got your 18 grams of coffee in your basket that was ground on the middle setting of your grinder. You've got it tamped down as straight as you possibly can, right? And now you've got a nice bed of espresso here in your portafilter. What are we going to do now? We're going to put it into your espresso machine. Now, we don't want to bang into things. We don't want to bump things. At first, you know, when you're a beginner, it's hard. This thing isn't intuitive, but you want to get it in there as gently as possible, because you don't want to knock that grind loose, and you want to bring it over basically to where it stops. You might have to hold onto your espresso machine a little bit, but you want a good seal, so push it over to where it stops. You're going to put your scale onto your espresso machine. You're going to put your cup. I need a cup. So you got your scale on your espresso machine. You got your cup. You're going to put your cup on that scale. You're going to make sure to tear it out so it says 0 on the scale, because we want to get the weight of the coffee coming out. We're going to get our phone, or we're going to get a clock or a watch. We're going to be ready to start that timer as soon as we can, and we're going to start our shots. When you see that first drop of espresso come out of here, you're going to start your timer. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to watch the scale. The only thing that is going to make us abort this mission is if nothing comes out. If nothing comes out, then we've gone way too fine, which is also the same thing as slow. That's a problem. Just stop the shot. Wait a couple minutes before you pull off this portafilter, because there's probably some pressure built up in there, and then go a couple notches, maybe 2 settings coarser on your grinder, because if it's too fine for anything to come out, then we already know that that's no good. So we're got our shot going. We are going to have it on the manual setting, meaning that we're going to want to start and stop our shots by ourselves. You can basically, on almost all machines, you are either going to have an on-off switch of some kind where you can start and stop your shot yourself. If it's the kind like this, which automatically stops it, you can set it so that it will just run for a longer time, and then you can manually stop it. That's okay. But we're having it on the manual mode. We're starting our shot. Our cup is zeroed out. We got our timer ready to go. We see that first drop. We start that timer. We're watching the weight on that scale. We're watching that weight tick up, and we're waiting for it to hit about 36 grams. As soon as it hits 36 grams, stop your machine and your timer. What did your time say? Make a note, and then we're going to decide what to do. Now, a lot of machines, especially entry-level machines, do tend to keep dripping a bit after you stop your shot. What I would do in that situation is I would just yank everything off, because we do want the weight to be about 36 grams. If you go a little bit over, it's no big deal. It's not going to hurt anything, but you don't want to be aiming for 36 grams and get 10 grams more. You know, a couple grams, that's fine. Don't worry about it too much. So what was the time? What was the time? Was it 25 seconds? Was it right on target? Was it 30 seconds, still within that range? Was it 10 seconds, real fast? Was it 50 seconds, real slow? Let's think about these things. If it was fast, real fast, like just flowing, and only took 10 seconds to get that, taste it. Probably tastes a little weak, right? So we're gonna make an adjustment. Is it running really, really slow? Took like a full minute to get that espresso out there? All right, brace yourself and taste it. It probably tastes way too strong. Make a note, all right? So here's what we're gonna do. Here's where we're gonna make our adjustments. If it is too fast, flowing whoosh, a gusher, just going way too fast, we're gonna need to go finer, because finer equals slower. So we're gonna go a notch finer, and we're gonna reset, do that all again. If it was going too slow, like, oh man, molasses over here, we're gonna have to speed things up. Speed things up equals coarser, so we're gonna go a notch coarser. And we're gonna do everything again, we're gonna repeat. The name of the game here is to keep making these little adjustments to try to find that sweet spot that we're aiming for. Somewhere in that 25 to 30 second window from the first drop of espresso coming out of your portafilter. And we're aiming for that 1-to-2 ratio. You might not want to be pulling 3 or 4 or 5 shots all in one day, because you might not want to be drinking that much coffee. But you can keep playing with this. You can adjust a little bit each day that you're making a coffee. Maybe do 2 shots every morning to try until you find that right window. And here's the other thing. Just keep tasting it, because that's going to help you understand what's going on. Now, like I said, if you got a 20-second shot and you taste it and you're like, hey, that tastes good, because that does happen, then good. You're good with this coffee. But you understood how you got there. Keep those notes. Know exactly how you got to those 20 seconds, where your settings were at, so that you can understand how to adjust it and know that if you go a little bit finer, it's going to go a little slower and more intense. If you go a little bit coarser, it's going to go a little bit faster and less intense. You think about how you want that to taste. Same thing. If it was a slow shot, if it took 40 seconds and to get there, well, same thing. You know that you want it to go a little faster maybe, but taste it first. Does it taste good to you? If so, then for this coffee, that was good. The reason why I want you to hit this 1-to-2 ratio in 25 to 30 seconds is because I want you to be able to have control over your espresso and always aim for something, because once that becomes intuitive, you can understand, oh, this darker roast tastes better a little slower, or this lighter roast tastes a little better a little faster. It's gonna kind of click for you. Now, I recommend always having a good hot machine, all warmed up, always using freshly roasted coffee from a local roaster, and I always recommend weighing everything out. I mean, if you're doing these things, you're gonna make good espresso. Also understand, that if you mess up or it didn't come out the way you wanted, or you're getting frustrated, it's taking 10 shots before you find it, that is not wasted coffee, that is not wasted time, that is learning. That is like going to school. And the more you do it, the faster you'll get at it, the more intuitive it'll become, and you won't be feeling like you're tearing out your hair. You're gonna get that new bag of coffee, you're gonna start it in that around the last setting you tried, and you're gonna intuitively know, because you've gotten to know your machine, you've gotten to know your grinder, oh, I think this is a 2-click guy, I'm gonna go 2 clicks coarser because that was way too slow. It's all gonna click in place for you. So repeat, 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 and keep at it. You're gonna get this. Hey, I hope that helped you. That is the basics of dialing in. That is how you dial in, and that is what you have to know. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe if you would. We're gonna keep this series, Espresso for Beginners, going, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.